Many people have argued that Bitcoin has never been through a real recession, right? Because it was created after the last recession in the US. So Bitcoin is being tested right now, and I think it's proving itself worthy, and it's passing the test with flying colors because consumer spending is still so high, and overall people are not struggling like previous recessions. There's still restaurants and retailers that are still hiring people. Unemployment is still low. We don't see massive layoffs, right? So this recession that we're in, and plus with people still want to spend and travel and stuff, right? So this whole notion of, okay, we're in a recession, yes, but is it a recession like all the previous recessions? No.
The current iteration, the form of NFTs that we have now, do you think this is what we will see that will survive, or will there be like a Facebook to Friendster that will somehow supplant all of the other NFTs that we have?
NFTs is just digital art, right? Even though there's utility built in, but the main ones like CryptoPunks or Bored Apes, they're like art. They're like Picassos. Even though there's new art pieces, that doesn't make the Picassos any less valuable. So the original OG, I guess, NFTs, they will stay valuable forever. The newer ones, though, they're having a hard time competing, right? They have dropped a lot in value because there's so many people, artists, they're coming out with it, so many brands coming out with it, and they don't quite know what to do. They're just releasing something for the sake of releasing something. Something that I think Gary Vee is very good at recognizing is NFTs it could unlock so much utility that brands are not even thinking about. There's so much you could do with, even like with tickets, movie tickets, concert tickets, whatever tickets can all be a form of NFTs and have some value. Gaming also, gaming items. NFT is a big revolution in gaming because now you can have free games that you earn NFT items, which have value, which you can sell. It's a total reversal from what games are now, which is you either pay for the game up front or you download a free game where you have to pay for items, right? Now you're not paying for items. You can earn items for free and sell them at, for profit, right? So I think naturally that's very enticing. I think it'll flip the gaming revolution upside down, even though right now it seems like the gamers are not fond of that. I think it's going to happen. So I think NFTs in the future, the OG ones will always be valuable, but the new ones will really, what's going to cause them to be valuable are the utilities they bring and what value it unlocks basically by having an NFT. Like something like for myself, I have my own NFTs, my fans love it, but I plan on adding a lot of utility. Like for example, if I have a conference, George Con or something like that, I want to be able to give free tickets to people that are holding my NFTs. Like that is a small utility, and many people could do that already. And you could do other things like meetups or Zoom calls or merchandise giveaways, whatever, just based on people having your NFTs. And because NFTs are on the blockchain, you can verify who has it, right, very easily. And you know that if they have your NFT, it's legit, it's not fake, right? So I think NFTs will be around for a long time. It's just that they just think that it's just silly art, but it's really more than that. It's more like a digital contract.
We're seeing the markets relatively from where we were a few weeks ago start to push up. CPI is better, but how sustainable do you think whatever we're seeing right now? And are you tying this primarily because of lesser money moving around, quantitative tightening, or are you attributing it also that in the entire cycle of Bitcoin, if you believe in the halving cycle, we're just in the middle of all of it, and this is something that has happened time and time again as well?
Many people have argued that Bitcoin has never been through a real recession, right? Because it was created after the last recession in the US. So Bitcoin is being tested right now, and I think it's proving itself worthy, and it's passing the test with flying colors. Because case in point, Bitcoin right now, as we're filming this, is 24,000, right? Just 2 years ago, when the pandemic first broke out and there's lockdowns, Bitcoin fell down to under 4,000. Ethereum at that time was $80. Okay, so we're way higher than that, and just 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So the fact that we're still holding strong at 24,000 is amazing if you think about what we went through the last 2 years. As for what we're going through in terms of the macro environment, like inflation, all that, this is something I mentioned earlier, we got to pay attention to. There's a couple things that I think is helping. And then there's one other thing I think is the main driver. Number one is, war broke out in Europe. So that was unanticipated. So we knew that with COVID, with pandemic coming back, there will be supply chain issues. We just didn't know that it would be this extensive, that we thought supply chain issues would be already resolved. But China had a couple of lockdowns, right? A lot of their warehouses, a lot of their manufacturers were shut down. But not only that, we're still seeing reduced labor force. There's ports in Europe and in West Coast where there's like miles of ships that they can't unload because there's not enough people at the docks to unload them. So it's not just China, but from a supply chain issue, it has been absolutely horrendous, and it still boggles people's minds, including mine, why we can't get enough people to go back to the jobs that they had before, right? But that's causing a lot of inflationary pressures because supply is down significantly and people still want to pay. And if they want to pay and supply is down, guess what? The price gets driven up, right? And that also is important, is because consumer spending, at least in the US, is still high. And why is that? Because people have saved up so much money within the last 2 years by not traveling, by not going on vacation, right? Staying at home, they don't even have to commute. So the number of people that are still buying and consuming is still very high. You would figure that would come down, right? But it hasn't really. People are still flocking to restaurants and buying things. Just this morning, I covered about Apple. It's still producing iPhones at the same rate as 2021, even though we're in a recession in the US. That's incredible because people have this need to spend, right? So that is also causing inflationary pressures upwards while supply is down. Now, I mentioned about the war, that was unexpected, but obviously that's driving energy prices up. Oil, Russia was one of the biggest oil producers and exporters. So the fact that they're being cut off from the world, that's having, decrease in supply. Europe is also seeing decreased supply because they want to get off, of Russian oil and natural gas. So they have to figure it out. So this whole thing is unexpected, but also causing inflationary pressures. But the good thing is both of these are starting to come down. Oil prices are coming down, which means energy is coming down, which means manufacturers getting cheaper. Supply chain issues is getting better little bit at a time, right? So these two things I see are getting better. They're not getting worse unless some other unexpected thing happens. So these naturally will bring inflation down. Now, as for just core inflation, all the money printing that I've talked about, obviously it decreased the value of fiats around the world, including the dollar, right? But because consumer spending is still so high, and overall people are not struggling like previous recessions. There's still restaurants and retailers that are still hiring people. Unemployment is still low. We don't see massive layoffs, right? So this recession that we're in, and plus with people still want to spend and travel and stuff, right? So this whole notion of, okay, we're in a recession, yes, but is it a recession like all the previous recessions? No. This is actually caused by the Fed purposely trying to stop inflation by decreasing demand by raising rates, right? So this recession, I don't think is nearly as bad as the previous recessions. So it's a very mild recession. I think we'll be in a mild recession for a while. But because of that, that's why I think the conditions are improving and they're not getting worse based on all the things I said. That's why I do think there's a really good chance that people that been sitting on the sidelines, not waiting to buy, say, crypto or equities, they go start putting their money back because they don't want to miss out on a tremendous run that will be following soon. So that's why we're seeing resurgence of Bitcoin and crypto and even stocks.
Would you say that you're more aggressive, or you're still waiting in the sidelines for more confirmation as well?
And like I said, when we were lower, I've been more aggressive with my buying. Now I'm still buying, but making sure that I have that cash on the side. Even though I think this is absolutely the point where we're going to go up to the moon, I'm not going to put all my cash in right now. First of all, I don't need to. I have enough, that's already riding that there's no need for me to do that. But I've learned that, yes, I could be wrong. So I got to have that cash on the side. So I'll continue to DCA. Maybe I'll start slowing it down, less aggressive as we go higher. But I'm not going to go say, okay, I'm going to put everything in right now because I know we're going to recover. And then I'm going to regret that, possibly because we have something else happen. I'm not going to do that.
3AC, Luna, Voyager, Celsius. Do you think there's something bigger that may happen in line with those things?
Every single cycle, there's big companies that go belly up. And I think this time around, Terra kind of set things in motion. Terra is a project that came out pretty much nowhere. They created a stable coin and they tied their token price to it, and has never been done before. They tried to experiment. It worked until it didn't, and then it blew up. But it showed you how much leverage there is in the space, right? Because when Terra blew up, Three Arrows Capital, which had a substantial amount in Terra, they started borrowing, and that's what led to the fall of Voyager and Celsius, and to some extent BlockFi and everyone else, right? So it shows that some of these guys, they just play with too much leverage. They didn't have enough, they didn't care enough about risk. So whatever procedure they had for risk tolerance or assessing risk went all out the window when things were going up. But when things came down, obviously that's how there was a chain effect and everything came, crashing down. But I do think we're out of we're out of that phase now. I think any significant loss that would have brought down more companies would have revealed itself already. So if there was exchanges, let's say, that had exposure to Terra and others, right? I think they would have came out by now. So I don't think we're going to see any major collapses of any other major projects. The only other one I could think about that has scared people for a long time is Tether, whether or not Tether will go belly up, right? But after the whole Terra thing, from what I read, there was some whales, or maybe Celsius itself or someone else, that pulled $4 billion out of Tether immediately. And it hardly moved Tether at all. They became depegged for like 2 hours or something like that. It was like very, very small amount. So it showed that, Tether is not going to collapse very easily. You would have to have an entire bank run of 30 billion or 50 billion being pulled out simultaneously, right? Then it'll be really tested. But I just don't see us getting to that point. And right now, because of so much scrutiny, more and more projects are relying less on Tether and going into, say, USDC or BUSD and other stable coins, right? So overall, the industry is learning and trying to adapt to prevent another catastrophe. So I do think it's the end, but hopefully it is the end for all these collapses, and we will build upon this, and projects will get smarter, and hopefully the whole entire industry gets smarter too.
I'll give you one word, and then first thing that comes to your head, one word that you can attach to it, sort of ending. Metaverse.
Animoca Brands.
Gold.
Peter Schiff.
Vitalik.
Ethereum.
Bitcoin.
Michael Saylor.
US dollar.
Fiat.
Solana.
Instability.
What would you pick? 1 Bitcoin or 15 Ethereum?
I think 15 ETH is worth more than 1 Bitcoin, right? So I would pick 15 ETH.
Piece of land in New York or pieces of land in Sandbox?
In New York.
Got it. Final words to people watching this, anything you want to impart to them, and how can they reach you? Anything that you want to let them know also?
I think I said everything I needed to. There's really no other lasting words or last words other than people just need to understand that when you're investing, there's always a risk. You don't want to invest more than what you're willing to lose, no matter what it seems like. Like there's no way that it could be another bottom or no way it could go down. Well, it always happens. So don't invest more than what you're willing to or what you could afford to lose, and really have patience. Focus on long term. If you're getting in hoping to make quick buck in a week, in a month, and that's your only expectation, you're probably going to fail because of it. So focus on long term and don't invest more than what you can afford to lose. And if you want to check me out, find me on my channel, CryptosRUS. That's it.
Got it. So guys, if you haven't followed George yet, follow him. You'll get far more from his channel. You'll learn a lot. Insightful content, relevant content, things that will help you make the right decision with your investments, or something that will allow you to be informed so that you have more conviction as you come into this market as well. So George, it's always an honor to have you. Very insightful, it was a fun time talking to you.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
So to everyone, I hope you guys got a lot from this, and I hope that this is something that helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.